I'll be the mystery I'm 69.95. Everybody's
What's that?
We don't get much done, but we have a lot of breaks.
Call this meeting of the Dongle Township Board of Supervisors to order to pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recording announcement, this meeting is being recorded. Roll call,
Dave Ely,
here.
Doug Teagarden,
Present.
Zach Prescott.
Here. Is there anybody from Columbia Compressor Station?
Yes.
You guys got the floor.
Thank you. We were here a month ago and we agreed we show up for the remainder of the construction, and we're here to answer any questions or any updates. The people that do live along Delashon Road, we had a lot of major deliveries this week. We did notify the police chief here of these upcoming deliveries, but essentially our compressors, we're building a compressor station, but essentially all that equipment has now arrived on site. And it will be coming back to this typical 3 or 4 regular deliveries a day, 5 days a week. So,
Are your compressors on site yet?
yes, sir.
So that's your heavy part of your load
Yeah,
then?
right. And in fact, they delivered the cooler, which is quite large. The last one up about 4 o'clock. You got that, it's all on site.
And you got the dust control in place?
Yes, sir.
And it's working good?
It is. I mean, that's what we're hoping. Ed does report, Ed, let me know if there's a problem, Ed. Any complaints about the dust? We've been trying to do a really good job at keeping it down. And
I drove up to see it, it didn't look like it was working.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Later in the meeting, in correspondence, I see we had some notification from soil conservation that you had some issues. Did you get the, I didn't get a chance to read the entire letter, did you get them resolved?
That was on the Hewitt property?
No, that's on the pipeline?
Yeah, that was,
Okay.
we were doing some repairs, there's a pond there, and there was some, we had an emergency last November when they put some hay bales there, and that wasn't, we did that because of the
Those
emergency.
issues with soil conservation are resolved?
Yeah, so yeah, we put the new socks in there and all that to
Okay.
their specs, so that's all taken care of.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank
else?
you.
Okay, thank you.
Road Department, Ed?
I got 2 proposals from Midland Asphalt one's for Ely Road for the reprofiling that we have been discussing. The road is gonna cost $57,166.80. That's finished product
For Gashel Road?
for Ely.
For Ely Road, man.
Gashel is out of our league. It's gonna require 607 tons of 2A stone, and then the emulsion, E1 prime.
What does that do to our budget on road resurfacing or repairs? Either, I mean, with that, I mean, what would it have cost to do the normal turn chip on it?
Probably around 12,000.
Would that leave enough of the budget left to do what we get planned to do?
I don't know, I just got these numbers yesterday. I haven't talked to Tammy to see what will be left in liquid fuels. Everything on here is co-stars, it doesn't have to be bid.
and I'm sure that doesn't take into account any of the issues we have with that road as far as slipping that
No,
road.
that does not do anything with your slips,
That-
that's just the road base. What they do is they come up through there and grind that road, and they'll add emulsion oil with that grind,
It puts it back down.
and then they'll pack it, grade it, and then they'll put that E1 prime on there with a light coat of stone, then they'll come back the next day and double shoot it with Township. But they gotta leave that road set for a minimum of 7 days before they can do that.
What kind of lead time on getting this company in? Are they booked up or?
If we were gonna do it, they wanna do it when they're down here tarring and chipping, they wanna grind that road prior to coming here to tar and chip, so when they're here chip sealing, they can go right over
They
there and
can do
chip
that.
seal that. That's gonna keep the cost down on the equipment moving.
So all of that would be done before the slip repair?
No, we'll have to do something with that slip prior to.
First?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
You wanna talk a little bit about that slip?
Dave called me on Saturday, said that the road was cracking. I went up and looked at it, looks like everything just dropped straight down. So you start digging at them, see what's in there, you don't know what you're gonna run into.
What did you find on the one on Shaler?
Haven't found anything. Bunch of fill dirt. Hasn't been sealed off, and it just keeps moving. And all this rain we have is just acting like a sponge, and it's just holding that water and moving down over there. We dug down yesterday about 14.5 feet clear across it, never hit no water. And we're putting concrete slabs that we have at the building up against the road, building that up. We'll put stone and stuff over that, and that'll get the road back to where people can get through and cross their fingers.
The road's still entirely open?
Yeah. We need to order a set of tracks for the skid loader. They're getting wore down. I can get pricing on them, shop around, and make a bunch of aftermarket companies make them now. We got a slip on Buck Run. We're working on the one on Shaler, and we have that one on Ely. We need to get them addressed. The pothole up at the trailer park that was brought up at the last meeting, that's on the trailer park end of it, that's not on our right of way.
Yeah, I went up and looked at it. It's definitely not ours.
We'll start mowing probably here within the next couple of weeks. Mowing the roads, depending on how we get caught up on these slip repairs, and that's on the list.
Now, last year you did the slip repair on Clogus,
Yes,
and that seemed to,
it's holding.
that's all. So whatever you did there, you need to do it again.
It can move at any time, you know, a slip's a slip there.
Right.
You know, you just try to do what you can do unless you want to dump $500,000 into them, but, and there's no guarantee with them either.
So you have a price on the reprofiling, but nothing's per se on the slip?
No, the slip, we'll probably just handle that ourselves and get in there and root around and see what we can find out. You get into a slip, if you hit water, you gotta get the water piped out of there. If you don't hit water, you compact everything and build a wall to hold the road. There's nothing else you really can do unless you hit a spring or something. Most of it's just due to all this rain that we've had. It's just every township, state, everywhere you look, there's something happening, the ground's moving.
Yep.
As far as the tar and chip, we're probably gonna continue the meeting, after we open up the bids. So we can talk about that at a later date, so maybe you can go through that and then get us some figures for whenever we continue the meeting, and we'll see what we wanna do with that.
Talking to somebody, they said that there's like summer help that you can hire and the state will reimburse the township. Has anybody ever heard of that kind of program?
Years and years ago, they used to hire summer help all the time. East Finley done it for years and years. I don't,
We did it here too.
yeah, I don't know.
Long time.
Long time ago. We can check into it.
I just looking, you know, for the weed eating and the grass mowing and stuff like that. A couple school kids or something like that'd be a big help. That's about all I have. Any questions?
On those tracks you were talking about, I bought an aftermarket tracks for my machine, I got about half the wear out of them.
Is that right?
But I mean, I'm sure there's better companies, I may just, want the cheapest one, but
That's what I was gonna do, just do my homework, get on the internet, see what the good reviews and the bad
yeah,
reviews was.
just be careful with them, because like I said, I only got about half the wear out of the second set.
Yeah,
aftermarket
we're
tracks.
harder on them than normal. That machine's got about 600-700 hours on it, and the tracks are short.
Just all that road, black coal.
I was just,
And what was the figure you had for the reprofiling on Ely?
reprofiling on Ely Road is $57,166.80.
Just from one end of it to the other?
Yes. It's a breakdown, the emulsion oil that they need to add is $24,384.80. The equipment rental's $10,600. And you're gonna need 450 ton of stone for the tar and chipping. They don't, that road, they don't have to add no stone to the grind and mix process. He said that's very unusual when they do a core sample to have a road where you don't have to add stone.
Is that process eligible for the block grant program?
I don't know that.
'Cause I mean, I'm always looking for projects when it comes
I
to
figure
block grant time.
it probably would be, everything's CoStar, I'm sure that there would be,
But you have to meet income requirements of the neighborhood. They survey the residents.
not everybody on that road's retired, aren't they?
Well, that would help. I mean, that's what they look at. They look at income
Yeah.
of the neighborhood.
Anything else, Ed?
That's all I have. Anybody else have anything?
One of the things that's happening on Ely Road with that slip is, I don't think there is any water under it. But every time it rains, water comes down, jumps out of the upper ditch next to the hill, comes down and runs right down in it. When you get that much water running as we've had in the last few weeks,
It's been a lot.
it'll,
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was discussed before. We got these tar and chip roads and they're all cupped. Well, when it rains, the water's running right down the tracks. And when it gets to a high spot, it shoots off the road, that's what causes you to have your slips. If water can't get in the ditch, because it's going down the tracks of the road, that's one of the things that we've discussed. We keep spending money on tarring and chipping, but we're not doing any road improvement. We need to get the cups out of these roads so that that water can shed off of there. A road is supposed to have crown, it's supposed to be high in the center, low on the shoulders. Well, in order to do that, you've got to, with that road there, Gashel Road, several roads in the township, they need ground and reprofile. That's why they call it reprofiling.
Well, those are both high traffic roads too.
Yeah,
But,
that's why I chose, Ely was my first. We get a lot of West Virginia and dry ridge travel shooting down over that road. And it takes a lot of traffic. And this is it's new for our township. Other townships have used it. But I wanted to use a road that had a lot of traffic on it to see how it was going to hold up for us. That's why I chose them.
what month are you thinking about doing this?
When we tar and chip, it's usually around the middle, towards the end of June.
Well, by then we should know what the next Act 13 allotment's gonna be. I mean, it's something you can use that money for roads. So,
Yeah, you have your Act 13 and your liquid fuels. I mean,
right.
I think it's something that we can afford to do it. It's just if we want to do it or not.
I have a question.
Go ahead, JD.
Something last meeting, I was trying to remember, a pipe that was part ours and part somebody's else.
That
We're
was
talking
on,
about-
they haven't did their road ride yet. That was on
Okay, supervisor.
Gashel Road, that was on the right hand of Gashel Road on our side. And I just asked Dave if they had made that road ride yet the other day, and he said they haven't.
Okay, thank you.
Can we talk about a new slip?
What's that?
Can I talk about
Sure.
a new slip? My name's Butch McNally, I live out on, the property's 399 of National Pike. I'm a pretty patient guy, so about maybe 13 years ago, we're talking about all the rain and the water now. I don't know if anybody remembers when about 90% of the spring was all wet. And I mean, there were slips in the rivers and Wheeling Creek was flooded for a long time. Well, anyhow, I hate to put it to you this way, but due to township negligence at that time, 13, 14 years, you had little metal culvert pipes or drainage pipes. And they kept getting plugged up, and the neighbors and then the township would show up and they'd try to clean out. Well, eventually they got to it, but they got to it a year too late. Because that year that it rained so bad that it actually, under pressure, sought a new route. And the route was where my driveway connects to Old National Pike. So what we have there now for the last 10, 12 years is a slip due to the water because it's been rerouted through the end of my driveway. So I'd like to know if they're gonna be able to do something about my driveway. Now, getting to that, when they came out and drilled hunters, I got on range and I called the township here a couple times, and Ed at the time was in charge of roads or stuff, Ed Stout. And he eventually brought an engineer that you folks have from Cannonsburg. I can't remember the names, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm pretty patient, I should have probably wrote all this stuff down. But you can only yell so much, you know. So he came out, this engineer, and he's telling Ed, well, what you gotta do is you gotta bench this, you gotta stone this, you gotta do that. And I looked at Ed and I said, Ed, you hear what he's saying? And then Ed walked away, and then the engineer walked away. I never heard anything about it. So what happened was, the old metal pipe that was probably about 60 feet away from my driveway, or the entrance, or exit, however you wanna look at it, the driveway of Old National Pike, it's just slipped, it's gone. I can't get in or out, because I got a bank like this. At times I tried to give the township a little bit of a nudge, because of the slip, the trees would go like this across the road. Well, there for a while, I was cutting them down. So the last couple of years, I let the town, finally the township noticed, hey, they're just laying it down, that slip kicking that tree out, they cut it down, and they left it there, you know, because that's township property.
You know where this is?
I know where it's placed, it's
Where, you know, I don't know.
just on this side of McAdoo's,
Okay,
Between McAdoo's and Hunters.
yeah,
okay,
on the right-hand side.
okay.
So like I said, I've been pretty easy going. I think David consulted a few people to take a look at this, but I never heard back from the engineer, never heard back from Ed, never heard back from anybody. Somebody said, you have to come to the meeting and have it written down somehow. I was just talking to people on the road, you know, the township guys said, hey, can somebody look at this, can somebody do something? So that's why I'm here. I'm here to file a complaint. If they would've taken care of that pipe a year before that rain came, that water, because here's what happened. The driveway went, and because of the water pressure, it blew the whole hillside out. I thought somebody put dynamite down there, and right below that is my access road to my property, in the fields. And I mean, it was amazing to see what that water pressure did. So now I have water, great water, spring water running out of the hill, and I had to open trench it down the road a little bit and bring it across with a pipe, because if I didn't, it was flooding out my road for my access to my, it's, you know what I mean, to the field. So you got this road here, this is my driveway, it kind of blew that out, and then below that is the road to the access, and all that water's just pouring out of that hill. It's a shame, it's great water.
Okay, why don't we have Ed take a look at it, and if you need,
I just looked at it,
you looked at it?
it's an engineering job there.
Well, he's sitting right here, so.
That's more than Ed's gonna bite off.
Go ahead and look at it.
We had a similar situation, not similar to his, but a rundown of Buck Run. They brought a bulldozer in there a couple of years back, and they went out around the hill to create a fence line. They put their fence in, the hill keeps moving. They went down below, they put up a big old horse barn or something down there, took out some more of the toe of the hill keeps moving. The stream restoration people, they wanted to cut a road around there. I said, I wouldn't advise you to cut a road around that hill. But when you start moving that hill with all them springs in there, it's gonna come down.
The shame part about this is really, if the township, and in those days too, we're talking a few, but the money was always talked about, it's like it is everything. I guess it was very minimal then, but they did their best to try to get things done. But if they would have taken care of this, that slip would have never happened. That road would have never, that hydro pressure was amazing. It just taught me a whole new lesson about that. It would have stayed because that pipe that they replaced has been going into a stream or a creek for years. You know what I mean? Now hardly any of that water runs through that pipe it just comes through underneath my driveway now and just pours out the side.
And all them springs on the upper side of the road, they found their own course.
Yeah, it's a
Water
shame,
takes the
and it was-
easiest path, and they found its way underneath the road and came out in your
And
property.
and I would have never known, never believed that would have happened, but if that pipe, that culvert pipe would have been open, that pressure would have never happened.
I had an old hand dug mine shaft on my place, did the same thing in that rainstorm.
Yeah.
Filled up with water just below the hill.
Oh, it was amazing, I couldn't believe it. Stones and
We need to have a motion that authorizes the engineer to.
You can just direct them to it.
You got that, Gordon?
I'll meet with that on the
Okay.
property owner.
All right, thank you.
Fire department.
In April, the fire department had 18 emergency calls for service. 7 were EMS calls, 2 hazardous conditions, 1 natural gas leak, 1 hazmat spill, 1 assist invalid, 3 standbys, 1 dispatch canceling route, and 2 no incident found at arrival at dispatch address. 4 of those were as providing mutual aid, and 1 was receiving mutual aid. On top of those 18 calls for service, we had 9 meeting or conferences, 6 company trainings, and 3 work details at the station, totaling 526 man hours. And as you can see, the building is making some headway there. They get in there for a couple days, work pretty fast, and then slow down for a couple days, and then work pretty fast again. But you know, we're looking at probably inside of a month, and we'll be completed, I'm sure.
I'll just work slow and steady.
Right, right.
You want to do your fire marshal?
Yeah, the only thing I have, I'm looking into some ways to do some reporting, and I haven't reached any conclusions yet. That's something I'll bring to you once we do, so
Okay,
that's all I have.
thank you. Water and sewage.
One thing we'll talk about is the water and sewer debt. The total water and sewer debt in the beginning of 2012 was $1.545 million. Current balance is $1.225 million, and amount paid since that time was $319,390.45. The what used to be the West Banco loan, which is now Community Bank, had not been paid on ever as far as the principal reduction before 2012. In 2012, we began paying on that, and we have reduced that down to $85,000, or we've paid $85,232.43. So the debt of water and sewer is coming down. We have the current billing, I guess, from the new water and sewer plant operator. He is slightly more expensive than what we have paid in the past, primarily on the hourly rate, which is double what we were paying before. Their last meeting, we had a citizen, I want to say complaint regards to the issues of water and sewer billing. And since that time, we have investigated those, or had them investigated, and found all the water and sewer billing to be accounted for. There was an issue with the separate meter that Wheeling had been charging us for, and the gallonage of the billing was not showing up on our bill. Now they've since corrected that. There are 2 separate bills. The total dollar amount paid was correct. And that was taken care of. There was an issue with the amount that was being charged for the sewer. The amount in the minute book, when we went back to check the minute book against what we were actually doing, the minute book was found to be incorrect. We looked through our documentation, spoke with Tom Bibby, who was our sewer plant operator, sewer and water plant operator, and he acknowledged that we were indeed charging the correct amount. The wrong amount was recorded in the minutes, And we have actually have a statement from him that indicates that, I'll just read it aloud. With my concern, rate increase I recommend to take effect January 2016 was increase the residential flat water rate from $17 to $22, commercial hydrant from $8 to $10, commercial sewage flat rate from $25 to $30, commercial sewage from $6.50 to $9 per thousand gallons, residential sewage from $6.50 to $8 per thousand gallons. The estimated increase will generate an additional $3,104 per month. The need for this increase was to have at least 10% revenue for unexpected expenditures and repairs, and signed by Thomas Bibby, 5/2/2017. Beyond this, my recommendation is that we turn our findings over to the CPA firm and let them audit those in accordance with the rest of the audit procedures they're conducting. That's all I have under water and sewer.
Code enforcement?
We have a report. The code enforcement officer, Mark Gordon, said he worked a township code enforcement officer that provided 20 hours for the period of April 13th through May 10th. He has revised this report, he says, to give more detail. There were 2 violation notices, one under the category of grass and exterior conditions. It doesn't specify what the exterior condition is. There were 4 citations, 4 violations on the same property. There were no prepare of any evidence, no hearings attended under investigations and inspections. 2 were for grass exterior conditions, 2 for junk cars and parts, 6 structure violations. There were 4 extensions granted, 1 inspection for planning commission for construction of a garage. He recommended approval. Second was the ordinances were township ordinances are now available online, and thanks to the secretary for that. So they're now available, and they're available on the website. Correct. That's his report.
Engineer Gordon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I have on my agenda tonight is the bid opening. This is for the new equipment storage building shell. And I believe we have 7 bids to open. Do you want me to come up and open those? Or?
Well, I'm doing it now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, they were publicly advertised.
That way we can get you out of here since you charge us hourly.
No, I don't charge you.
You don't? Here you go, you can hold up this. Put your chair on it.
These are non-billable hours.
Non-billable.
Non-billable.
I like that term. We'll teach that to that guy down at the end of the table.
Sorry, guys. Let's see. Somebody keep track.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Here, I'll do it.
Oh, thank you. We do have, Tim, you said 7 bids? Okay. Not starting in order of the bid tabulation, I'm just gonna start how they're piled up here, and it's, I can't even read this name.
Blair Construction.
Oh, Blair Construction. It is sealed. And let's see, let's look for the bid bond first. There is a bid bond. And the amount of 10% of the bid price. And the total price, total bid is, like 2 pages. $202,590. That's 202,590. Yeah, just leave it out, I usually stack them up. McBracy Corporation from Washington, PA. It is sealed.
Mr. Taylor, what are these bids for?
This is for the new equipment storage building shell.
Right. I can't hear you, you're talking to the board, I don't know.
You understand what they're for now, though?
Not really, but I can find out
It's
later.
a new storage building. Ed, do you want to explain what the building's about? They need more storage for the equipment and,
I heard that conversation in a previous meeting, I wasn't really aware of what was going on.
oh, okay. So this is McBracy. And I'm looking for the bid bond. There it is. And they do have a bid bond. I have to see if it's 10%. It is for 10% of the amount of the bid. And their price is everybody takes these apart and then puts them back together differently. $158,660.
Who was that?
$158,660. So 158,660.